Well, folks, yesterday, Elon Musk attempted to launch a 40-story building into the air on a giant rocket. And the launch actually worked. And then it achieved what Elon Musk called rapid unscheduled disassembly. Big news of the day yesterday is that Elon Musk launched his Starship. This is the single biggest attempt to take an object to space, like 40 stories tall. It's enormous. The video is really cool. And here's a little bit of the video of the Starship flight test. Look at the size of that thing. That's no moon. It's a space station. Look at this. I mean, how much power it takes to get that thing off the ground. Pretty amazing that they were even able to get this thing up off the ground. The problem is that the bottom of the rocket would not disconnect from the top of the rocket. And so it ended up blowing up. So SpaceX was actually pretty happy with this test flight because, again, this is how you learn things. According to Reuters, the flight test was the first for a Starship mounted atop the company's new Super Heavy rocket. It's the first launch ever for that lower stage booster. SpaceX is touted as the most powerful launch vehicle on the planet. Even though the two-stage rocket ship made it less than halfway to the edge of space, climbing to just under 25 miles, the flight achieved a primary objective of getting the new vehicle off the ground at liftoff, despite some of the engines actually failing. The mission did fall short of reaching several objectives. The plan was for the Starship to soar into space at least some 90 miles above Earth before it re-enter the atmosphere and then plunge into the Pacific near Hawaii. So it wasn't as though they expected to actually just re-land the thing or something. But apparently, the spacecraft experienced multiple engines out during its ascent and then lost altitude and started to tumble before the flight termination system was commanded on both the booster and the ship. Musk had already suggested back in February the real goal is not to blow up the launch pad. Now, it's funny to watch all these kind of career losers on Twitter who are like, oh my God, he blew that test. That was terrible. First of all, look at the old sort of NASA tapes. You know how many things had to blow up in order to actually get to space in the first place and then to put a person on the moon? This is a very early stage test. It is always amusing to watch people who have never built a thing criticize people like Elon Musk who are actually doing extraordinary things, like trying to take a 40-story building off the ground. It's kind of an amazing thing. Again, we have a society that is filled with people who are critics but not builders, and we need more builders and fewer critics. So we should actually be celebrating the test. Listen, SpaceX it's super cool. I mean, what Musk does between Tesla and space, it's very, very cool stuff. We'll get to more on this in just 1 second. First, let's talk about the fact that when you discard the wisdom of the past, when it comes to the economy, you're making a large-scale mistake. What the wisdom of the past tells you is that the government has control over fiat currency. Very often, they use that power in order to inflate the currency. They mess around with the interest rates. They do all sorts of things. They can screw around with your asset base. This is one reason why I trust Birch Gold with my metals investing. Birch Gold is the only company I trust to help me invest in physical gold and silver. They have everything you need to protect your money in an unstable economic climate. They even help you convert your existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in precious metals. When you invest with Birch Gold, you'll be protecting your savings from inflation and economic uncertainty. You'll be like Ron Swanson, hoarding gold and silver like bacon and eggs. I buy gold from Birch Gold because I want financial safety net for my family. You can do the same. Text BEN to 989898. Get a free information kit on gold. Start investing in your financial future today. With an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, thousands of happy customers, countless 5-star reviews, Birch Gold is the company I trust to protect my future and yours. Text BEN to 989898 today. Again, that's BEN to 989898 today. The economy is getting worse every day. You need to change your spending habits and start saving money. If you haven't changed the way you buy meat yet, you really need to do so. Let me give you 3 reasons to subscribe to Good Ranchers. First, Good Ranchers is giving you, well, not me, free bacon for a year. I can't do the bacon. That's £1.50 of bacon in every box, a $240 value. Second, Good Ranchers offers a price lock guarantee. It means that when you subscribe, your price is not going to change for the entire length of your subscription. When the price of meat is expected to increase by another 4.5% this year, this could be a big savings for you and your family. And third, Good Ranchers meat is just terrific. I know this because they actually did go out of their way to get me the sole kosher steak Good Ranchers has ever made. They prepped it just like they would any other Good Ranchers steak, except kosher. It was awesome. The steak is really good. I'm talking about it 2 years later. That's how good that steak was. I can still taste it in my mouth. Head on over to goodranchers.com. Use my code BEN for $20 off your order. You'll get free bacon, great meat, a secure price, and $20 off your very first order of meat. Use promo code BEN at goodranchers.com. Again, that's goodranchers.com. American meat delivered. The best steaks for the best price. Goodranchers.com. Okay, speaking of people who are more interested in not doing cool stuff, the Biden administration continues to make the case that we should draw closer to China. I don't understand what they're doing here. It makes no sense to me. So they still seem to be operating under assumptions from like 1994, which is that if you are warm and embracing toward China, maybe they'll be nice to you. I have yet to see the evidence for this as Xi Jinping grows ever more aggressive. So Janet Yellen, the Secretary of the Treasury, who's done just a superb job in generating 40-year highs in inflation and stagnant economic growth, she says we need a healthier economic relationship with China.
We seek a healthy economic relationship with China, one that fosters growth and innovation in both countries. A growing China that plays by international rules is good for the United States and the world. Both countries can benefit from healthy competition in the economic sphere.
Now, we're going to happy talk our relationship with China right now, mainly because this administration continues to undermine America's economic health as well as our military readiness. She then continued by saying that we believe China can share global prosperity, which is weird since they're not doing it now.
Some see the relationship between the U.S. and China through the frame of great power conflict, a zero-sum bilateral contest where one must fall for the other to rise. President Biden and I don't see it that way. We believe that the world is big enough for both of us. China and the United States can and need to find a way to live together and share in global prosperity.
Sad news for you. That's not going to happen. The Chinese have no interest in sharing in global prosperity with the United States. They prefer to start an era of great power competition, which normally would be a call for the United States to strengthen its own position. But we have another agenda. The other agenda is that we have to spend endless amounts of money in order to presumably achieve equity or something. So to that end, the Biden administration continues to promote the idea that they are not going to cut a single damned thing in order to achieve an increase in the debt ceiling. Even some House Democrats are like, maybe Biden should call Kevin McCarthy at this point. According to Politico, President Biden immediately rejected Kevin McCarthy's opening debt limit proposal, but it prompted movement elsewhere. A growing number of House Democrats would like party leaders to restart negotiations. The party is still firmly behind Biden and Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, but a growing contingent of Democrats are acknowledging that Biden's blanket refusal to engage with McCarthy may need to change, especially if House Republicans manage to pass their bill as planned next week. If McCarthy does that, several House Democrats said this week Biden would probably need to meet with the Speaker. Representative Debbie Dingell of Michigan, she says they've got to do it soon. She believes that there will be a clean debt ceiling increase, but the administration can't keep waiting. I don't think there's any harm in the two of them sitting down to talk, says first-term Representative Greg Landsman of Ohio. The idea we're even coming this close to a potential default is insane. I mean, that's true. But again, Joe Biden believes that he's able to get away with pretty much anything because so far he's been able to get away with pretty much anything. Now, but reality is going to set in. So home prices in March actually posted the biggest annual decline in 11 years. That is the result of Joe Biden's increasingly inflationary and stagnation-based economy. According to the Wall Street Journal, home sales fell across the United States in March, a sluggish start to the crucial spring selling season as higher mortgage rates squashed momentum from the prior month. The good news is that Joe Biden still has the media in his corner. So this means it's time to start happy talking, bad things happening. This is one of my favorite brands of media coverage of Democrats is something bad happens because of a Democrat. And so it's all that we have to shift our mindset. It's like meat is unavailable because of meat shortages generated by supply chains breaking under Joe Biden. And suddenly you have a spate of articles about how meat is really bad for you and actually you should probably eat bugs. Right, here's the latest and greatest. So it turns out that nobody can actually afford to buy a house right now because the mortgage rates are so unbelievably high. And the real estate rates are still elevated. The real estate prices are still elevated by the amount of inflation in the economy. So it's kind of a Bermuda Triangle in terms of people who are trying to buy new houses. So the Washington Post has a piece today titled, Rethinking Single-Family Living. Roommates pay bills, create community. Yes, you should stop thinking about, getting married, having kids, that white picket fence, the home. Stop thinking about that. Instead, you should be like Leanne Doe. Doe, 38, has shared her Seattle home with a rotating cast of 11 roommates since she and her husband, Nathan Friend, 37, bought it in 2012. During that time, they've had 3 children, now 7, 4, and 1. Having renters provides a meaningful source of income for Doe and Friend, both of whom hold part-time jobs in the education and nonprofit sectors, allowing them to work fewer paid hours and devote more time to caregiving. Doe says the decision is more than about savings. It enhances their family life. My children love it. I'm sure your kids love having random strangers just living in your house. I'm sure they love it. Many families' budgets are squeezed amid ongoing inflation. Meanwhile, an affordability crisis in the U.S. housing market has put buying a home out of reach for many. According to a recent report from Redfin, only about 1 in 5 U.S. homes for sale in 2022 was affordable for a typical household. Bringing in roommates can help everyone involved navigate these challenges. This is a new movement toward multi-generational living, says Joyce Cerrito, associate professor at the Department of Family Social Science at the University of Minnesota. Yes, now we're going to get a bunch of articles about how tiny homes are good. You should live in tree houses. This is the best way to live now. Democrats are wrecking your lifestyle. The answer to that is that get used to the new lifestyle. It's going to be awesome. Alrighty, guys, the rest of the show is continuing right now. You're not going to want to miss it. I'll be speaking with Balázs Orban. He's political director for Prime Minister Viktor Orban in Hungary. If you're not a member, become a member. Use code Shapiro at checkout for 2 months free on all annual plans. Click the link in the description and join us.